G'day there. My name is Simon Coxhell and I'm the Technical Director of Great Northern Minerals. We're headquartered in Perth, Western Australia, and we have three large gold projects located in North Queensland, approximately 200 kilometres inland from Townsville. We're located halfway between the mining centres of Kidston, Mount Garnet and Charters Towers, Pajingo. These are well-known large gold centres, and we have 11 granted mining leases and 2 large exploration licences located in those areas. We've got an experienced board. Our chairman is Kim Robinson, who was previously the chairman of Kagara Zinc, a billion-dollar company that developed a large number of mines in North Queensland. I'm a geologist. I'm a graduate of James Cook University in North Queensland and know the geology very well. We've got about 1.2 billion shares on issue. Stock's currently trading at about 1.6 cents. So we've got a market capitalisation of in the order of $19 million. With $2.5 million in the bank at the moment. So we're well funded for our exploration work going ahead. The projects that we hold have all been previously mined by other operators back in the late 1980s and early 1990s. What those operators previously did was that they mined the soft oxide material, effectively the free dig material. Approximately 2.5 million tonnes at 2 grams was mined, stacked up on heap leach pads, and the gold was leached out of it. The work that we're doing is we're drilling underneath those previously mined open pits and extensions of those along strike and testing for additional mineralisation underneath it. That's been very successful so far, and that's allowed us to define in the last 12 months about 184,000 ounces of gold, with more to come. This just gives you a bit of a feel for the mining leases. We've got Camel Creek up here, Golden Cup, and then we've got Big Rush. And as I say, we've secured all the extensions by the exploration permits that surround those mining leases. So all the extensions to the known mineralisation are well and truly covered. Geologically, we're in what's called Silurian age rocks, which are a very tightly folded sequence of sandstones, siltstones and shales. There's big, what's called axial planar faults that cut through this complex sequence of interbedded sediments, and where those shear zones intersect favourable lithologies, shales that are carbonaceous, and the gold is in a reduced environment and it drops out, and a lot of quartz veining that's associated with that. We also have an increase in sulphide mineralisation with the gold mineralisation that we've discovered. In the last 18 months, we've acquired all of these projects. We own them now 100%, no royalties at all. We've also been extremely active in our exploration activities. We've drilled in excess of 15,000 metres of drilling and established 2 JORC resources, which is the 184,000 ounces. We don't have a JORC resource for Camel Creek, which is the project where we've been completing our recent drilling and getting some fabulous results. So we've got another couple of drilling programs to complete at Camel Creek, and then we're in a position to get a JORC 2012 resource estimate on that, which will significantly add to the company's assets. This gives you a bit of a feel for the drill intersections from Camel Creek. The ones down the bottom in green are the latest drill results that we've released to the Australian Stock Exchange, the ASX. 56 metres at 4, 36 metres at 2, 24 metres at 5.94. They've been excellent intersections in beautiful looking brecciated quartz veined rocks. We believe that the mineralisation is related to what's called the D2 structures. These are structures that strike in a northeasterly direction. They're subvertical, they're persistent and they're consistent. They vary in width from 1 metre up to 15 metres of width, and they strike for at least 4 kilometres. This is a plan display, an aerial photograph of the previously mined open pits. They extend in excess of 3 kilometres of strike, and the latest results that we've released have tested over about 1,200 metres. All of those holes have returned significant intersections, and we now know that this mineralisation extends for at least 1,200 metres along strike, and the drilling that we've done has demonstrated that these remain open down to at least 200 metres vertical depth. There's a rule of thumb with gold systems that if your system is at least 4 kilometres long, it'll have a vertical extent of at least 2 kilometres. And we've only tested it to 200 metres, so we think we've got a long way to go. This is a long section, so effectively we're looking west here. It just highlights the higher grades that we've found. So far, what the drilling has indicated, and we've got more drilling to do, obviously, but as we get deeper, the grades and the width seem to increase. These are three-dimensionally complex mineralised gold systems, and a lot of further drilling is required. In section, this is what they look like. As I say, the zone here at what we call the hinge zone varies in thickness from about 5 metres up to 15 metres of true thickness. As I say, these have been tested down to 180 metres vertical depth, and so far just continues and keeps going. So we've got more drilling to do, but we've been really, really pleased with the results so far, with more work to do. This is what the rocks look like. The slide on the left there shows you the highly weathered sedimentary rocks. There's transported cover that sits over the top of those, which effectively masks the underlying mineralised bedrock. So we think that the exploration upside is significant. The other two slides is what I would describe as a snapshot of what the mineralisation looks like. I'm a great believer in what's called fractals. That is, what you see on the small scale, you can expand to the big scale. And what we see here are these quartz-rich zones, which are trending to the northeast, subvertical in nature, and you can have big significant blowouts on the margins where they intersect favourable lithologies, contacts between siltstones and shales, or shales and sandstones. The presence of shales is important because it produces what's called a reducing environment, and that's what helps precipitate the gold. This is what the rocks look like. These are all plus 10 to 15 grams per tonne gold rock chips. You can see the nature of the brecciated quartz veining and the shearing that's accompanying that. The light grey blue material there, that's the fine sulphides, which is antimony, which forms a sulphide mineralised called stibnite. We've had assays up to 5% over 4 metres of antimony. So this may be a project that, as well as the gold credits, will have antimony credits. So we think it's got a long way to go. We use Fosterville as an analogy, and that's a function of three things. Number one, it has very similar age rocks. This Fosterville, which Kirkland Lake owns, is contained within a Silurian Devonian sequence of tightly folded siltstones and shales. And also it has similar metallurgy in terms of the antimony that we find. What Kirkland Lake has demonstrated, however, is that as you go deeper in these systems, the amount of sulphide decreases and the amount of free gold increases. So deeper drilling by them was able to establish, for example, the Harrier zone, about 600,000 tonnes at 54 grams per tonne gold. So fabulous discovery, and it really turned that mine around. So that's what we keep that in mind during our exploration. The other projects that Great Northern has is Golden Cup and Big Rush. Again, you can see the calibre of some of the intersections that we've returned from our drilling. Large systems, again, previously mined, and we're just simply drilling underneath those open pits to establish JORC-compliant resources. Again, a slide on the left-hand side, a planned display and aerial photography, shows 3 open pits previously mined, and then we've drilled those out on 40-metre centres. Golden Cup, tightly folded sequence of sandstones and siltstones, similar to Camel Creek, axial planar faults, and some good high-grade numbers there. So that's the geological model, and that's where we're finding some very good numbers. So just in summary, we've got 184,000 ounces. We haven't got a JORC resource estimate for Camel Creek. That will come later on this year after we've completed more high-grade drill results. And we think that will then be followed by a scoping study to determine the optimum economic development of this project. Thank you very much for your time.